I didn't want to make this a two-parter, but apparently I'm going to. When I put the phone on charge, it kind of stopped the part. I guess that means I can slow down on my explanation now, and technically then turn this into a huge rant. It also means I need to be careful, because if I record this for too long, then my phone might get mad about storage again. So, Aaron's point, going extremely off the last part of my other video, and going straight into the next part. This is a reminder for people that might have, because it's probably going to be like a day between this first part and second part, because I don't like just shoving like hours upon hours of things all at once, which is why I have like the current things being like 3 videos a week over on Newfie and Gamers. I forgot to edit yesterday, so, or the day before technically. I'll edit today though, I promise. I will be a good editor, I promise, and edit today. And then technically Saturday we might get a bonus video. So, yeah. Also, just a thing, like, I've been trying to put the proper descriptions and stuff into the videos after the fact, so that way, most of my links are still down in the description and stuff. This is like 2 seconds after the other one. I literally put the phone on charge, was trying to speed up the previous thing, putting the phone on charge, ended the video. Like, just straight up. It, like, went back to my lock screen, and I was like, okay. And that was it. That was the video. I put the phone on charge and the video ended. Anyway, so at the end of my last video, I went through and, like, this is, like, I got to the point where where this dude's showing a clip of Aaron explaining and bitching and moaning, if you want to call it that. It's like complaining about how people will basically look at somebody playing the game and be like, you're not playing it right. You gotta play it this way. You gotta do this. You gotta use the shield in Zelda. You have a shield. Use the shield, idiot. Like, people like that. First of all, I don't use the shield in Ocarina of Time. It barely does anything. Also, I'm in the mindset of, like, I play Link to the Past more. The shield's automatic whenever it kicks in. Also, kind of like Aaron, I also play like a freaking aggressive idiot. So, I play more aggressive than defensive. I will dodge, and I will attack. I will be full aggro and dodge around. I mostly learned this from games called Mega Man. You don't have a block button in Mega Man. You don't have a block button in Castlevania. You don't block in classic games 90% of the time. You just don't. You don't have a block option. You have a block option in fighting games, and sure, in a fighting game, I'll use a block option because it's there. And it's also just like hitting back or maybe holding a button. Even though that time, I would rather spend most of my time actually doing inputs to deal damage, rather than sitting back and trying to block and try to play defensive. I need to improve my fighting game skills. I'm definitely not ready to be a fighting game expert, but I have beaten my fair share of fighting games, especially during my 1 year where I beat a whole bunch of games. Oh, you know, speaking of that, if people want, I could also do another year of, like, starting fresh, since it's only almost February by this point. It's basically February now. When you're watching this, it's February, because I'm separating. This is like 2 seconds after that, but I'm putting this on the next day. But I could go through just a bunch of random short games and stuff if people want to watch that, and just kind of do similar stuff where I went through the game clears. I can either do them via streams or via that, and then like separate them per game, or do like, if I do stream VODs, I'll separate them via certain things and stuff. And people want me to just like try to push myself to see how many games I can clear in a year. I can't. And that's what people want to see. Anyway, enough show now. The point is, Aaron was complaining about backseaters. Thankfully, that whole time it allowed me to remember what the word backseater was. Aaron was complaining about backseaters. People that will be like, you're not playing the game right. How do you not know this thing about a game you've never played before? Like I've heard Aaron's speech when he was doing the Obama skit in Kirby in the Grumps version of Kirby's Dream Course. I've heard that bit over a dozen times, and that rings true. How do you not know this thing about this game that you've never played before? I'm pretty sure Majora's Mask. I'm not entirely sure if that was a first time playthrough, but it feels like it might have been. Because he was struggling with that so hard that it might have been a first time playthrough. And certain things like that. My point, like the whole thing with that clip, is Aaron is complaining about people backseating and like also complaining that the bad recommendations that people were giving them weren't necessarily all that great, although they probably were, but he was joking about it being an asshole because internet personification. You know, just being a trolly asshole on the internet. You know. So, what and then the dude basically that's when he shows the clip of the guy struggling to use the shield he shows Aaron struggling to use the shield against this mini boss that I've had problems with in the past in Majora's Mask, and I haven't played Majora's Mask in a long enough time. I kind of forgot about this mini boss, but I think I remember him. I think I remember him giving me trouble because, again, I'm an aggro player. People play games differently. That's another thing. People play games differently. I play aggro. I prefer playing aggro. Like I will take damage and I will attack. Again, things I learned from Mega Man. If you want to play any game series for my lack of defensive behavior, Mega Man, 1,000%. You kind of gotta be aggro and dodgy in those games. You dodge the attack when you learn the pattern of the boss. You can dodge the attacks, but when you're first playing, you just want to do as much damage as you can, and you take as much damage as you're able to, because you can. I mean, that's how I basically beat Mega Man 1 for the Game Boy when I was a kid. I tried to learn the patterns, but I also just tanked a bunch of hits because I was bad at dodging. But at the same time, that's kind of helped me grow my skill sets of gaming. Where, like, if I play in a game, I will choose a tankier, aggressive build. A tanky but aggressive build. I want to have a lot of health. I want to be able to survive for a long time. But I also want to deal as much damage. And I will sacrifice damage over defense anytime. But I will also prioritize boosting my health, which is apparently not the right mindset to have nowadays, because it's more about boosting your defense and making sure you don't take any damage. If you don't want to take damage, you just gotta not take damage. It's like, that's no fun. I don't mind taking damage. If you make that the whole priority of like, now you just gotta like avoid taking damage entirely, and 5 additional hit points means absolutely nothing when you're taking 80 to 90 damage every hit. Why is that an option? Why is that? I've had this kind of debate over something like me building a character wrong in Dragon Age 2, where I first played that. I hate I hate people who just like, no, you're playing it wrong. Well, to fix this, we're gonna have to have a whole respec. Like, I didn't even do that. I just started building. Like, I realized that character's supposed to be a tank, so I kind of just used them as a tank more often. And I don't even know if I really used that character. It was like a boss. I would just be like, it's like, fuck off. Games are meant to be played, or at least they should be able to be played however the player kind of wants. That's how games work. Dark Souls isn't like that because Dark Souls is stupid. Hot take. I know, but I don't personally like Dark Souls because I think that game requires you to know everything about the game before you even know how to play the game. If you want to enjoy the game, you have to know everything about the game. That's how that works. Otherwise, you're just in for a bad time. Meow. Mow. What's up? Mow. Not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. Might go in there at some point and find it and see what's wrong, but anyway. Cat could also just want to get in here where he's not allowed because this isn't my place. I'm just living here, basically. And cats are not allowed inside the house. That's the rule. If it wasn't cold and rainy outside, the cat wouldn't even be inside of the house right now. And if this was my house, the cat would be right here. I'd be petting the cat. Like back in the day, in my older update videos, when we had the cat and we would show the cat. If we did that often. I don't know if we did. Anyway, so, long story short, is that Aaron is complaining about people backseating in the games. And then the vibe I got from this guy is that, oh, if you know how to play the game, it's perfect. Like, this is how you do this. 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 It's like, if you know what to do in the game, duh, you know how to do in the game. Freaking of course you do. That's kind of the entire opposite point of what Aaron's trying to make. You're making an anti-point. You freaking, This is, like I said, this has actually got me literally angry. Because I'm a guy that personally likes to go bounce from game to game, which is why sometimes I do a little bit of preset research depending on the game to kind of know what I'm getting into. Unless it's like I don't want to see anything on that game. I want to go into that game as blind as possible. It's hard to do. Everything giving off spoilers for like Tears of the Kingdom or Echoes of Wisdom or Mario Wonder or stuff like that. Mario Wonder, I almost don't have an excuse with. I have a copy of it over there. It's Lynn's copy. I need to beat it to hand it back to her. I just have it because I don't like to play it on my Switch Lite as much. Again, would like to probably record or stream it, but again, I honestly don't know what to play or record or stream right now because again, I get choice paralysis real easy. Anyway, so here's the other half of the issues. So basically, that's the whole rant I wanted. Like I said in the previous video, the whole thing I said is nobody is a master of every video game. Nobody can be. First of all, there are over over 10,000 games. You ain't got that kind of time in your lifetime to master every single one of those games. There's a good chance that like maybe a few hundred of them are the same as other games. Like every Madden game basically plays the same. Every basketball game basically plays the same. Mostly due to the fact that most of those games are just a sport. And the sport has never changed. The sport hasn't changed that much. And the only times those sports get interesting is if you do something crazy or wacky with it. More or less. Like street basketball or something like that. Or basketball with powers. Or Mario sports. Mario sports games where you get like cool, crazy power-ups. And stuff like that. Or cool, crazy kicks. Which honestly, I prefer that over basic sports. But that's because I like high-powered fantasies. It's kind of why I want to make my game about superheroes and stuff, about high-powered characters going off to save the world against high-powered villains. You know, it's typical superhero stuff. Make really powerful threats, have really powerful characters be able to handle said threats. Not easily, but decently. And go from there. But my point is that, and I've made this. I think I even properly made this point when I beat a friend. Like I had friends in college that would beat my ass in Call of Duty or other games I never play, and also get mad at me for not knowing how to play freaking that. And then I load up Sonic Adventure 2 and beat the shit out of them with Amy. Yeah, with Amy, because Amy's the cheapest character, but they didn't know that. They thought I was joking, and then Amy beat their shit. Also, I don't think I actually knew that at the time, but it is funny. It is funny, and it also still proves the point of they didn't know. They don't know how to play the game. I beat their ass. No shit. It's again the whole mentality of like, oh man, you're bad at games. What the hell? Like, no, I'm not. I'm bad at this game because I've never played it before. You want to try me on a game I actually know? Let's do a race on Animaniacs for the SNES. Let's do a race of Maximum Carnage. See who gets the furthest. That's Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. I love that game. Even though it's terrible with how the certain things are, but I grew up with that game. That's the type of beat 'em up I would love to make. I've had dreams about beat 'em ups that are like very similar to that, and I would love to actually make that possible. My point is you can't be good at every video game, and if you're a variety gamer, then you're going to be playing more video games. And the Grumps are 1,000% variety gamers. That's what they do. They go and play every game they can get their hands on, and I approve of that. I also say that that's the same thing with like people like Raocow. I watch a lot. They also go through a lot of games for the first time. They were stuck on playing Mario ROM hacks for the longest time, but now they're kind of like branching out. His audience wants them to do more stuff and stuff like that. So he has like viewer choices and stuff like that. He's got all this stuff going on, and he basically tries to play through 3 games at the same time every day, and he makes that his main priority. I would like to do that. I would play 3 games at the same time every day. I would. If people watched it. People didn't watch it when I did that. I tried that. Or the era of me playing through Deadly Premonition 2 and a couple other games at that time where I tried to either upload daily or upload twice daily. Nobody watched any of that. It was great. No matter how I've done a schedule, it's all been garbage. So, yeah. This is why I don't have a consistent upload either here or on New Fiend Gamers. It's because it just feels like whatever. But if people share these videos around with people, and people actually like show these videos, like this video and all the New Fiend Gamers content around the people, and actually, or help us figure out what we're doing wrong and make them better. I also have a thing with like certain videos, like certain things. Off-topic rant. I'm sorry, but we're already on part 2, so I at least want this to go about 30-ish minutes. It's probably going to, because I need to still continue the other rant. I don't know how people feel about this, but I know with a lot of people today, they would prefer watching videos that are jump cutted all hell and like all this stuff. And I don't mind a couple videos like that, as long as there might be an original to go watch to see the full thing, just in case I did find that bit interesting and want to see what happened around it. But I do, and my personal favorite type of videos to sit down and watch, I will watch over and over again because they're hilarious, are stuff like Jello Apocalypse's like shortened videos where he plays through an entire game but shortened and has little animations. And basically the same thing with Lythero, where he cuts through an entire game playthrough, but has like little animated skits the whole way. More or less. It's a stream VOD, but he cuts it up into little bits with animations. I would probably love to do that, but to do that, we don't have the money. We need animators. That's the biggest thing. It's like, I assume either I'm not going to make assumptions. All I know is he hires a bunch of editors to get a lot of animations done in a shorter amount of time. That's probably about it. And so that he doesn't have to work somebody to the bone. I don't have a network like that, and I don't have money to make a network like that right now. If I did, if somehow I won bajillion dollars or something like that, and I could make a network like that. Or if I was able to get like some people to help support and back my channel up, my channels and my ideas and all my stuff up, like financially, then sure, I would be able to. I would be able to go and pay and support all the people that I would pay and support all the people to help make my stuff much better. I probably actually go pay proper editors too, because I know how to edit, but I don't know how to edit extremely well. I don't know how to do like certain things, but like my entire life grading scale is I have like a C rank on everything. Like I have a general understanding of most things, and when I don't understand, I can go get a quick refresher on real fast and know it. That's how I got through high school and stuff with like A's and B's the whole way through, more or less. Anyway, long story short, my editing style mostly is not editing. I will cut something out if I feel like it's completely unrelated. Like, let's go with like if you're playing a game and let's say we're playing a game and we have to, like, we die, we game over, we need to backtrack all the way up to where we were. I'd probably cut some of that out. I'd probably cut most of that out, unless something funny happened along the way. But the first time through, I wouldn't cut out anything. I don't want to cut out anything. Like, Fire Emblem's a little bit harder because there's actually a lot of stuff to cut out because, dear gosh, do we get stomped in Fire Emblem because Fire Emblem's a really difficult game. If you don't want to lose anybody. And we didn't want to lose anybody. So, yeah. It's difficult. We use assets, whatever. But that requires a lot of editing to kind of go around. Which is why that project's actually been on hold a lot, because it needs a lot of editing. Also, one of the parts got like messed up on the game itself, and we had to do something else. Either way, the point stands that if stuff like that happens, I will edit around it, because yes, going through the same thing over and over and over and over and over again is kind of boring. Sure. Maybe if like the first couple attempts, maybe not, but like, yeah, whatever. But at the same time, because I don't know what people will think, what is funny and what's not. People might find certain things funny, people might find other things funny. We find one thing funny, people might find other things funny. So I keep a lot of it in. That's just my editing style. I don't really like to edit. I know Pro Jared doesn't really do much editing either with his stuff. He will die to the same death 30 times, and you'll watch him walk all the way to do it. I'd be like, man, I might put an edit here to like try to jump back to where you were. Or like edit around like some of these deaths instead of having a 40-minute video of no progress being made. I probably would do that. Because I would like progress to be made constantly. But it goes to show he has an audience that doesn't mind that. So we're going to go on the assumption that that's an editing style that is valuable. Like it works. And people want to skip ahead. There's the skip ahead button. You can do that. It's fine. You can hit forward, fast forward a little bit. You can also do that on my VODs. Secret note: if I'm like not on screen for a minute, you can like hit the forward button or like tap the screen a couple times to get me on screen, like get the games going. If nothing is happening because I went to the bathroom or something. I don't know where that is in my VOD. I'd have to sit down and watch the whole VOD to find out where that is. If I start doing that, where I'm like going through, I might cut at bathroom points or something like that to have shorter stuff on my stuff, but that is debatable. I'll be right back. Sudden cat, say hi to the camera. I think he just wanted some attention, but again, he's not allowed to be in here. So bye, cat. Saying bye-bye to the audience. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. We got surprise bonus cat footage. So, yeah. Anyway, long story short, that's how I edit. And also the game groups, for the most part, do that unless they want to cut something out, which they find that annoying. So, after many years of trying to edit stuff, I also just, again, I don't know what's funny, I don't know what's not. And so if I cut out all the stuff that happens, it's hard for me to remember. But basically, I will reasonably cut out certain things that are taking forever. Like if we're grinding in a video game, I will cut that out because that's nothing. You know. But again, that's if I do that with actual videos, not VODs. And stuff like that. That's just how I prefer it. I prefer that. I don't mind using assistance through like computer stuff to help make that progress a little bit easier because I don't want to sit down and grind out 500,000 different games. It's fine. I'll grind out a new game or a game that doesn't have those features, but if I can't use the features I'll grind it out and do whatever I need to do. But honestly, whatever. Most games nowadays don't even require that because they're all so easy that it's just like whatever. Saves are so fluid and all this other stuff that it doesn't matter. Like Hogwarts Legacy, I played through that on relatively normal difficulty, and like one place gave me a challenge, but like most the rest of the game did not. And that one place was kind of a bonus area anyway, so it's like, whatever. So, that's just how the game be. Also, it's all progressive difficult. Also, most games like that are progressively difficult. Like, the further you get in the game, the harder the game gets. So, the more you level up, the harder the game gets, for the most part. It's like, huh. I don't like that personally, but if I ever play games like that, I will go into detail. But then a game like Hogwarts Legacy has it to where like people level up with you, but only in certain areas. So certain areas, after you reach a maximum level, they will not level up anymore. And in certain level areas have minimal levels. So this area is like super dangerous. So you will get wrecked if you're too low level before going in here. A game like 2070 Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever has the opposite problem where certain things are just certain levels and there is no way around it and you don't know what's what level until you get there. Oops. And they don't tell you what level the things are. You just gotta start doing the mission and oops, it's level 30 and you're level 12. Oops, that happened to me way too often for quests I wanted to do. And like the main quest is like that. Like that's the same problem I have with Skyrim. The main quest is like that. So it's like I would like to do the side activities, but I don't know what side activities to do because they're all way higher level than I am, and I don't know how to go get levels. Besides maybe doing certain things, but I don't know. I don't want to sit there and do nothing, more or less. I want to do things that have like a progressive aspect to it. I like doing quests, and I like doing side quests. I like doing the main story. I like fighting bosses. These are things I like about video games. Grinding is okay in some aspects, but like honestly, the whole point of my brain is that if you do the side activities, you usually grind up enough to do the main activities. That's how I see it, or vice versa. Like I shouldn't need to go grind by doing absolutely nothing. Like that should not be a thing. And even if it's like tiny little side objectives, like listening to radio frequencies and stuff like that, that's still basically nothing. If it's like an infinite supply of infinite quest, that's a thing that means it's doing nothing except being there to grind off of. Anyway, long story short, back to the thing. Everybody plays a game for the first time. Nobody knows what they're doing. And yet this guy's whole video was basically like, obviously you do this, and then this is how you play the game, and like, look how easy this guy is if you use your shield. He's a cakewalk. Like every boss is a cakewalk if you know what you're fucking doing. That's the point. Some bosses are not. Some bosses you still get your face kicked in because even if you know what you're doing, the game actually isn't designed for you just to be able to trick the boss like that, and you actually have to work on them. Again, Link to the Past does this kind of the best because a lot of the bosses have bullet hell patterns, like the giant Helmasaur boss, where you gotta hit it with the hammer and get it to move the mask off. That boss is actually kind of hard because he has like little attack patterns that are like really hard to dodge. Same with like some of the other bosses, and then when they hit you, they take away like 3 hearts from your health unless you got armor, which when you fight the Helmasaur, you don't. So you just hope you got enough hearts from before, and if you don't, well, hopefully you got fairies or potions. That game makes me use my fairies and potions half the time. Like I always have to bring potions to Ganon because he hits like a truck and I'm aggro. I like going boom, 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 boom to the boss and doing as much damage as possible. It's why I have a level 4 sword to do 4 damage per hit. But I also think Ganon's weird. I don't know if he's damage based or hit based or what. It's weird. I don't like final bosses that do that. I kind of prefer health bars for the most part so I can at least see how much damage I'm doing and make sure it's not a trick. Because I really hate it when it's like, oh yeah, here's all these upgrades. Also, it doesn't matter because all the bosses are set to die a number of hits anyway. So all your damage ups mean nothing to bosses. It's like, cool, the one time I would like the damage up to mean something, it means nothing. Cool. So many games do that and it pisses me off. But no, again, that was the vibes. I got to when he was showing off how easy it was to beat this certain boss with the shield. That was my last straw, and I was done. Because it's like you're literally defeating the entire point of Aaron's argument. He's literally saying there's thousands of ways to play the games. He was technically still damaging the boss every so often. And so was the other guy that was playing Dark Souls. He was getting the boss like almost dead multiple times. He was just having trouble dodging and trying to do certain things. Like learning the pattern of the boss. Oh, the boss is super weak to this. Where does it say this in the game? Nowhere, obviously. So why would I know that? You know that because somehow either somebody told you or you saw it online because somebody figured it out. Congratulations. You know that. I don't. Shut up. I like censoring myself because it's funny. That's how I feel about backseaters. That's my long short of it. I need a haircut. I think there's really nothing else I really need to talk about with that because I was like almost done with the video anyway, which is why I went on so many other tangents like the editing styles and other things. I'm emo. Ta-da. Crawling in my copyright infringement. I'm still mad that half my Chrono Trigger videos are basically copyrighted. At this point, the video is over, but I'm still here for. I could be here for another 30 minutes or whatever, but like, whatever. I could just talk. I got nothing else to really talk about though, so I'll probably just end the video here because it was supposed to be a 30-minute little rant, but I keep getting sidetracked and everything. So that is whatever. Hopefully, you gleaned something out of this. Long story short, my point is, funny video was made to be funny. Sequelitis video was made to be funny. It's a comedy video from a comedy guy who used to make videos about freaking whatever. At first, when I first watched him a long time ago, I didn't really like his style. Mostly because I don't like butt humor. That stuff like fart jokes are like certain things, and jump scares are the fart jokes of horror, but whatever. Fart jokes are their own thing. I don't really find that super funny unless it's timed really, really, really well. But that's a personal take, and it's whatever. I don't like weird body humor like that. I don't like gross humor. I definitely do not like gross humor. And a lot of what Aaron had before was gross humor. I didn't like it. Some of the stuff they do now a little bit hinges on it, but it's like cut down to such an extreme that like it's like cut down to like it just being there a little bit. That's fine. Some of the content for some of the Star Bomb songs are a little awkward. But I still like them. I still like a majority. I still like some of the stuff. So I'll just like take what I like and take what, you know. And Game Grumps as a whole, I've liked since the beginning of Game Grumps. I kind of still wish JonTron did video game content. At least every so often. Like, he can still do the stuff he's doing now, which is just random bullcrap. But if he's doing a couple game reviews in the process, that would be cool. But he's probably not. But that's what I would like. Anyway, no. Like, funny joke from guy who makes funny cartoons using funny art is a video that's supposed to be made for funny. It has a point, but nobody gets the point except for the people that get the point. But not the people that are complaining about it. They don't get the point. And the point is that older Zelda games gave you a lot more freedom, allowed you to do anything you wanted. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, even for the most part, Wind Waker and definitely Skyward Sword. Definitely Skyward Sword. That game pisses me off. Because it's like the whole thing I like about Zelda games are the dungeons. And you can say that maybe if you count all the non-dungeons as dungeons, it kind of counts. But no, you don't. You can't count the outside portions as dungeons because they're not dungeons. Defeats the point. It's kind of cool to maybe have like a setup where you start doing dungeony stuff outside the area. Sure. But we're still missing like parts like the small keys, the like certain things, and definitely the bosses. At the end of the day, there's only still a handful of bosses, and they're usually at the end of a dungeon. But at the same time, Skyward Sword had you stop going into a dungeon for so long, and so you never fight bosses. And then it's the same boss like twice. To give you the same boss twice. So it's just... I don't like Skyward Sword, so I agree when he doesn't like Skyward Sword. And my point is, I was going to say all those Zelda games, especially Skyward Sword, all the way up to now with Breath of the Wild and stuff, like those ones are different. But like from Ocarina to there, even with the Game Boy offerings or like the portable offerings and stuff like that, the games became linear. Not that that's terribly bad, but they became linear. 100%. Link to the Past is partially non-linear. Again, you can do parts of Dark World however you want. And because a lot of it's more based off skill rather than just needing a dungeon item or just needing this to progress forward, basically all Zelda games at this point are just Metroidvanias at this point. Where like, older Zelda games where you could go, like, again, the two I can think of, and also Link's Awakening, and kind of the game, I don't know, those ones really don't feel like it. You have to do so much stuff to open for dungeons. Okay, I think those games really aren't that open-ended thinking about it. But, like, for the most part, all those games are linear as heck. For the most part, maybe it's not necessarily bad that they're linear. I'm just stating that they are. It's a fact that they're more linear. Like, maybe you could do, like, you have to beat Dungeon 2 before you can do Dungeon 3 Majora's Mask. And you have to beat Dungeon 1 before going to Dungeon 2, because you need the bow to enter the ice area. Why wouldn't you like stop the dungeon midway and start exploring the ice area, I guess, but why would you do that? You're already in a dungeon. Just finish the dungeon. That will also don't run out of time. Use the inverted song of time to protect yourself from the timer. The timer going to get you. Anyway, his point in that video is that it started off being very open-ended, where you could do whatever you wanted. It slowly got more linear. And Skyward Sword is the epitome of that. The absolute epitome of that. Oh, technically, Link Between Worlds isn't linear either, because you can just rip the weapons. But yeah, Skyward Sword is the epitome of that. So much of the game is holding your hand and telling you what to do, and you don't even really. And to me, I don't even want to save the people of Skyloft. They can all go themselves, because honestly, they are the rudest mofos. Maybe they have a reason to be rude. Maybe they're just, that's just how people are. You don't buy from them. They're just generally just throw you off a blimp and have you plummet to your death. Whatever. It's normal. It's normal to just have this person that's window shopping and be like, I don't necessarily want anything to just throw them off your blimp and try to kill them. I don't want to save a damn person in that world. Not any of them. Zelda's nice. She gets a pass. But she's also not in the game as much as she probably should be. That is the entire point of that video. Like, again, I'm taking more stuff because I understand. I have a similar standpoint where those games got less and less linear. It's not not even so much the less and less linear. It's just they keep getting further and further away of a game where the whole point is to gather items, or like go on an adventure, go into dungeons, solve dungeon, beat boss, get upgraded, move on, maybe do a couple side quests to get some more upgrades so that you're stronger for the next dungeon, and move on. That's what it should be. But every game gets further and further away from that, and further away from actually giving you anything. Again, the whole 5 heart piece thing from Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword pissed me off because of that thing. I want to upgrade my character. I want to do stuff. But you're literally preventing me from upgrading my character and doing stuff. What are you doing? What are you doing? Not to say that Breath of the Wild has the exact opposite approach is much better. It would be. But here's my critique on Breath of the Wild. And if I ever sit down and play Tears of the Kingdom, which I've not played yet, and because I'd be bad at it, especially the building aspect, except I played Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, so I kind of get it. So I might be ready for Zelda Nuts and Bolts. Zelda Breath of the Nuts and Bolts, or Tears of the Nuts and Bolts, whatever. But I could do that game blind, but I have to actually have a Switch that has it. I have to have a Switch and an Elgato to do it. I would do that one blind. But here's my problem with those two games. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I don't like the shrines. You could cut out the whole shrine process. My 3 big complaints about the shrines are as follows. The breaking weapons is also a problem, but they give you so many weapons that you're usually overflowing with weapons anyway. That's not that big of a deal. But it does make me not want to ever use any of my good weapons. I want to save those for a boss, but there's only like 5 bosses in the game, so plus big monsters, which they're mini bosses, but yeah. My biggest complaint with the shrines are at least a few different things. Probably 3. There may be more. I swear I come up with random numbers. I'm just as bad as Phil from Hercules. Number 1, there's so many of them. And 50 of them in the original have no shrine. There's nothing. They're a side thing, or maybe a fight. The fight is okay, but again, they're almost nothing. They're just like, oh, you found this by solving a puzzle on the outside. Here, have a heart piece or a stamina increase. I have no issue with the stamina system. Apparently, you can max out on the stamina system, but I don't know if you max out on the hearts the same way. But at the same time, I don't like the fact that like the maximum hearts only go to like the shadow hearts, like the bonus hearts. Like they don't start a third row or anything. They should. I think they should. I think the fake heart should start a third row. If they did, that'd probably make the whole system so much better. But like, I stopped getting heart containers because I was like, well, I can make fake heart food. Like I like doing the cooking mechanic in that game, so I'll just keep making the fake heart foods, like the bonus heart foods, the foods that give you extra maximum hearts temporarily. Also, it's funny how that and the back stamina ones are just like, this is a full heal. It's not supposed to be a full heal, but if you just have like this tiny little bit of max in there, max health or max stamina, it's a full heal. It shouldn't be, but it is. And that's funny. And that's an exploit I definitely used in that game. Because I was like, okay, I'll just make these things. Like, I got all these little bit of these little things. I'll just put one in, and that's a full heal for either heart or stamina. And I'll just infinitely climb a mountain as I keep drinking this brew that gives me +1 maximum, temporary maximum stamina. Have like 30 of those in my inventory, and I'll be fine. Anyway, exaggerations aside, the game only had like 4 dungeons, like the first one does, plus Hyrule Castle. The 4 dungeons the game gives you are mid at best because you have to control it. Like, you have to use your device to manually move the dungeon around, so not all the dungeons is accessible at once unless you mess with something. At first I didn't even understand that, and when I did, it kind of annoyed me. And it's like, okay, so like you have like access, like this little puzzle thing where half the puzzle is moving some of the dungeon around with your device wherever and whenever you want. It's not even like go to a control panel and move stuff around. It's you can do it whenever and however you want. Convenient, yes. Annoying, yes. Mostly, yes. But at the end of the day, there are 5 dungeons. And the only really good dungeon in that game is Hyrule Castle. That dungeon is fantastic. Especially when you just go in there and you're just exploring around, doing whatever. So much to look at in that dungeon. There's so much landscapes. There's so much just like the castle's ruins and in disrepair. Why are there no disrepaired palaces throughout the game? Where's like a palace of wind or a palace of fire or whatever? The coolest parts of the game were like the little mazes in the middle of like the certain things, and maybe Yuletide Island's okay, but that's its own challenge for a shrine. I did all the shrines. I've done all the shrines of Breath of the Wild on my own time. Looked up a walkthrough, because again, I'm not going to scour every step of the world to figure out where certain things are, or stuff like that, if I get super lost. Well, like solve certain puzzles. But regardless, yeah, I found all the shrines, got them all, and I had a couple problems with that with the maximum stats, which I found a little bit frustrating. Like, you can't get more and more stamina on top of that, because I was going to max out, I was going to keep going stamina, and I don't know if it's like, you can either max out health or max out stamina. But max out stamina, so I think still gives you more beyond that, but max out health and does not do that. I don't know if it's both locked at the same time, because I maxed out stamina first. I don't know what maxing out the hearts look like. I don't know if you can. You shouldn't be able to because of the max heart system, But that's my opinion on that. If you do, then the max hearts are almost worthless, except for like just having a tiny bit of max heart to make the full heal. Again, because it counts as a full heal. Yeah, I definitely went off the point. I'm just talking about Zelda games now, which is fine. This is a good topic. But again, the point he was making is that he was excited. He saw what they did with A Link Between Worlds, where the game opened up a bit more than usual because the item rental system. And yes, that's pretty cool, where you just get the items from the get-go and you can play the game. That's pretty cool. And you buy them permanently at some point, which is better. But the only but going too open-ended has the other problem with that too. And I find it weird that you can just go straight to get it, but that's me. But it's fine. The game's fun. The game's still fun, but it's weird. I found an issue with that, but it's fine. But still, he was excited to see Zelda try new things because it got so caught up in its formula that Skyward Sword was nothing but like doing everything it can to keep the player away from the thing they want to do, which is the dungeons. That's why I play a Zelda game. I play it for the dungeons and the bosses. That's me. I play Zelda games for the dungeons and the bosses and the upgrade system. I want things to upgrade my character and make it meaningful. I don't even know if Skyward Sword had a better sword. Let's put it that way. I don't know if your sword ever increased in damage. They could say that your sword got better because of certain things, but I don't know if it actually went up in damage. I think like the same thing can be said about like, or maybe you might have got a better sword in like Wind Waker, and I think Twilight Princess when you get the Master Sword it was technically a better sword. But like in Skyward Sword, you start off with the Master Sword. It doesn't get better, quote unquote, and I don't know if it actually gets sharper and deal more damage. It might get better at stealing evil, but like it doesn't get better at dealing damage. I don't think. I've only played through the game once, and I don't really tolerate going through it the second time. But that's my take on what I like about Zelda, and what I think. Oh no. Oh, I've worn this shirt like twice, and like little things are coming off. Look at that. I probably wore this shirt like 2 or 3 times. That's a waste. That sucks. I'll still wear this shirt until it basically just becomes a black t-shirt, I guess, with maybe something on the back or maybe not. I don't know. Oh well. That's unfortunate. Either way, I just noticed it now because I was looking down and seeing it. Actually, I felt it. I was like, wait, that's weird. Why is that? Uh-oh. But that's my point. His point of the video is that the older Zelda games were a lot less linear, and the core of it was going on an adventure. And doing your own thing, cutting your own path into the world. Maybe being, like, you can't be a pioneer in a new world, but, like, for you as the player, you can experience stuff for the first time and get there and try to solve, like, its mini riddles on your own or look up a guide. You know, depending on what, I'm not going to say anything bad about people who look up guides. You play a game however you feel at whatever level you feel comfortable playing it. That's fine. If you need save states to get past a hard level, it's fine. You don't have to master every game. If you want to sit down and master a game at your own time and put self rules that say, no, I don't want to put a save state here because this and this, go for it. Like, I've played Castlevania. Like, I think when I beat Castlevania 4, maybe even Castlevania Dracula X for the first time, I put down save states for that. I'm not going to probably improve on Dracula X. But, yeah. Actually, I might not. No, I don't think I actually did save states on Dracula X. I think that one I did. But, regardless, my point is that play games however you want. And if people are yelling at you and telling you you're playing the game wrong, those people need to shut up. I get it. Sometimes it's a situation of, I just want to help them. I know this one little trick that'll help them so much. Dude, calm down. You might be partially like, yeah, your intentions are good, but calm down and just let them play the game. This is why people don't check the comments while they're playing through a game. And why sometimes they just ignore chat if they're playing the game for the first time. It's because that. I had that happen to me on Pizza Tower, a game I was so excited to play for the first time, and people were trying to teach me moves and how to parry. I didn't retain either of those two informations, but, like, they were trying to tell me stuff, and they were trying to spoil levels that were further in the game. I'm like, dude, shut up. This is my first time playing the game, and I've been so excited to play this game. Stop it. You're making me not excited to play this game that I'm having fun with. You're spoiling things. You're ruining things. Stop it. No backseating. None. If I played through the game a bunch of times before, backseat me. I don't care. Now, at that point, I'm playing it, and I've played it before. I'm not experiencing a new thing. And at that point, new cool tricks, cool. If I played the game before, I don't mind backseating. First time playthroughs, no backseating. Please, for love of Batman. No backseating on a first time playthrough. Don't do that to people. If they're saying it's their first time playing, or that it's like the first time it's like the first time they went through it on a series or something, then let them just do that. Let them explore and figure out what the game's all about. If they're trying to 100% do perfection, if they ask questions and they actually mean to ask questions, listen to them then. Answer questions that the people may ask. Only when they ask it in a sense that's not just commentary. There's two different ways to ask questions. One is, I'm thinking this out loud because I'm commentating right now. What do I do? How do I do this? That's not permission to say that. It's more permission to say that, though, if they pop up on and like stop, it's like, okay, I'm being serious now. What do I do? What am I missing? I'm physically looking for help. You can help me with this question. Only this question, you can help me. And then they do it. I've had Proton John deal with so many people backseating him over the years. It's ridiculous. I think his community finally kind of gets it now, but yeah. Some people will still pop in and be like, wow. One person was trying to tell him he was garbage at Marvel Rivals for just staring at the characters for so long. When it was his first time playing the game, it's like, dude, calm down. People have not played the damn game yet. This is why I don't play competitive games. I don't want to deal with that shit. People are already tweaking and like figuring out how to do meta shit. I don't care about meta. I want to play the game. Also, competitive games don't entice me because if I want to learn the competitive game, give me something like a story mode or something. Street Fighter 6. I'm good at Street Fighter 6, at least a little bit, because there is a story mode that got me through most, that get me good at the game against the CPU. Give me something to go against the CPU with. Anyway, I'm going to hop off there. It's been an hour, and I'm rambling at this point. This is definitely the second half of this video after the 30-minute mark with just me rambling. The point is, nobody's perfect at every game. Enough said. That's the entire point I'm trying to make. Hard stop. The entire point, nobody's perfect at every game. Stop being assholes.